So here's the vocab that we'll be going over in this chapter. This is on page 46 of the Growing and Learning Spanish text. If you're in my class, it will be page 2 of the 4th set of notes that I send out to you. So I'm going to zoom this up a little bit. Thanks. So what I have here is a chart, and I have a worksheet that I'm going to go to help you all out with this in the practice to explain it a little more. But this is a great visual to help you see how organized the Spanish language and many other languages are. We don't do this quite as consistently in English, but in Spanish, you're going to be able to see that we're going to group things together by if they are male in nature or female in nature. Now, this isn't it can be kind of sexist, but it's not intended to be. We're not trying to say, that girls do certain things like dancing or singing or cooking, and that boys do things like, the military or sports or video games, because girls and guys can both be good at all of those things. What this means is that we take words like boy and girl, and they're going to follow a different set of rules in grammar. And I'm going to try and explain those rules to you, and I'm going to try and make it so that at the end of these two lessons, level 1 and level 2 of this male versus female, that you can look at any word in Spanish and determine if it's going to follow the male rules or the female rules. So that's our goal here. On our chart, it has a lot of hints to help you out with the type of things that we need to understand it. As for now, just to understand the way this chart is set up is that we have 4 quadrants mainly. In the top left quadrant, we're going to put all of our male things, our boy things. You're going to see that typically in Spanish, these things will end with an O. Everything on the left side, left 2 quadrants will only be male. Everything on the right 2 quadrants, they're going to be female. We're going to separate the top quadrants from the bottom quadrants by things that are singular. If they're just one boy or one girl, we're going to put them in the top 2 quadrants. And then if there is, more than one boy or more than one girl, our plural versions, they're going to go in the bottom. I'd like you guys to see that the article the, we have 4 different words for that in Spanish, and it's based on the gender and the number of the word that you're addressing. So if you have a word that follows the male grammatical rules, then we're going to choose the word el when it's singular. And the same word niño, that means boy, you see down here when I want to say the boys, I'm now choosing the word los. So you can see that our article actually is going to match in gender and in number with the word that it's connected to. When we look here on the female side, the same thing happens, where if it's a singular female item, for that rule we need la, and for plural female items, we're going to choose los. So what we're going to do in our worksheet in level 1, we're going to focus primarily on words that end in O or A. I'm sure you guys have gathered at this point that every word doesn't just end in O or A, but we want to be able to distinguish those really easily at first, just to understand the grammatical rules. And then in level 2, the second video, I'm going to try and explain to you how to look at any word, whether you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, like the word boy, girl, aunt, uncle, dad, mom, cow, bull. If it's a word like table or shoe, I want you to be able to look at it and know, based on the grammatical rules, whether we're going to use the male rules or the female rules. So, instead of going through this chart in the book, I don't want to spoil too much of my text in the videos. I'm going to go to this worksheet that I've made for you all. And I will put a link to this worksheet in the description for this video, and you all can use this to test your own knowledge of male and female. You can see that in this first video on level 1, we're going to focus on putting these words from our chapter 1 vocab sheet from the textbook into these boxes where they correspond, whether they're male singular, male plural, female singular, or female plural. And then in level 2, you can see that these words, they don't end in O or A. So we're going to have to exercise another set of rules to understand if they're male or female. I promise it's not much harder, but it's good to be good at these first before we try to adapt to another rule. In the final part of that video, I'm going to talk about rules, words that break those rules, and try and give you my explanation to why some of them do. There will be words that I can't explain, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty good at telling you why these rules work out the way they do. When we get to level 2, you'll have a second chart that you can use to add the words where they belong. And if you complete this with these words here for level 2, you can go ahead and try and do a test of what you know with some words here. So I'm excited to get started. This is one of my favorite things to teach. And this is a method of teaching this that I developed myself. It's not something anyone ever showed to me. So I hope you all enjoy. So what we'll do to start out is we're going to choose the word dad. When we look at the word dad, I think it's pretty clearly a male singular thing. So we'll take this word dad and we'll put it in the box with L. Now, if the male singular dad goes here, where would the word dads go? That's correct. It's going to go down here with los in the male plural version. You can see that the same thing would happen with mom and the word moms. So step 1 in knowing if a word is singular or plural is to to ask yourself, is it male or female? Is it a girl or a boy? Some things are innately boy or girl, and I'm not trying to assign a gender to anything, but I am trying to speak more in nature and in the grammatical rules that they follow. So when you can look at a word like dad or mom, you can know that we're assigning female characteristics or male characteristics. And the same for words like bull versus cow and bulls versus cows. And so you can see how these things match to the respective boxes that they belong to. I'm going to take these English words out while I explain the second step. So the way I explain the second step is I usually hope that there's someone in class who's had a little bit of Spanish before. And I'll ask the question, well, how do you say the word boy in Spanish? The word boy in Spanish is niño. There is an ñ over this O. I'm sorry. How do we say the word boy in Spanish? It's niño or muchacho. I chose muchacho just because I can't quite get the ñ into the word the way I need to. But in class, I typically do niño because I'm writing on the board and it's easy for me to get the accents and the right letters in that I need. Well, if you look at this word muchacho, if I wanted to say the boy, you know that this is a male and it's singular. It's going to go into this box. So the way that we say the boy is el niño or el muchacho. You could also say el chico, el güey, el parcero. There's lots of other ways, but we're going to stick to these in our vocab sheet. So how do you think that we'd say the word girl? This word girl is muchacha or niña or chica. So you can see that it's virtually the same word, but its different ending gives it a different gender. This is going to be very useful with other things like our family and animals when you're trying to assign a gender to them or trying to understand which gender they are. So, not everything like shoe or table or train will really have a very clear gender. So what you'll have to do after that, you guys can see that this O and this A is one of the distinguishing factors on if it's male or female. So although every word in Spanish isn't going to end in O or A, it is a very good starting point. And all of the ones that I want you to fit in here first do end in O or A. So you're going to look at the last letter and to see if it's male or female. You're looking to see if it ends in O or if it ends in A. All right. So now that we can see that, I want us to think, how will we say the boys? Well, we know that muchacho is singular, and we are looking for the plural version. So whatever way that we say it will go down here with los. So our way to say the boys is los niños or los muchachos. And our way to say the girls is las niñas or las muchachas. I hope that at this point you have a good understanding of how the O and the A affects the gender of a word and how you can actually look at the article that precedes a word if it doesn't end in O or A to give you another hint about the gender of the word. So if you can't tell if it's male or female, and if you can't see that it ends in an O or an A, then our last option is to look at the article that precedes the word. So if you were to find muchacho in a reading or writing, or muchachos in a reading or writing versus muchacha, seeing la or l before it, and the other articles that we will learn in the future, and I have listed in my book, are really helpful tools to seeing if they work. So what you're going to do now that you've completed this video is you're going to click on the link in the description to get a copy of this document. I'll clear these answers and the notes out of it. And you're going to try and fit this word alumno in the box that it goes in. So you'll look up here. I'll go ahead and clear this out. And I'm going to say alumno. So I want to say el alumno. This is the student. Well, how would I say the students? That would be los alumnos. And you're done with the word alumno. You were able to look at it. You were able to see that it ended in an O. You were able to match that with masculino. And you were able to see that if it's a singular student, it needs to be el alumno. And if it's a plural student, it needed to be los alumnos. If you look here, what we want to do is we want to try our next word, escuela. Escuela is right down here. So this word escuela, you can see ends in an A like niña and femenina. And like the word la. So we're going to say la escuela, the school. And we would say las escuelas for the schools. So you want to try and see if you can fit all of these words into the boxes, all of these words into the boxes that they fit in. And then, which will be el or la. And you want to take those words that you have in the el or la box and write the plural versions in the los and las box. You should feel satisfied if this is easy to you and you get 5 words in each box. But if you feel like you're struggling some, you want to take the time and get as many words in here as you can.